In the ancient land of Eldoria, surrounded by sprawling golden fields and guarded by towering mountains, there ruled a king named Alaric. Known far and wide as the Lion of Eldoria, Alaric was a warrior king, undefeated in battle and revered by his people. His kingdom thrived, its people lived in prosperity, and its walls seemed unbreachable. Yet for all his victories, Alaric's greatest enemy lurked not outside his kingdom, but within, his pride. Alaric was a man who believed that strength kept a kingdom safe. A strong sword keeps the peace, he often told his council. But deep down, there was a part of him that feared losing what he had built. That fear grew sharper when rumors began to swirl. King Varghul of the Northern Kingdom, Vordrath, was amassing an army. Varghul, they said, was ruthless, hungry for Eldoria's fertile lands and wealth. The whispers reached Alaric's throne room one fateful morning, carried by a frantic scout. "Your Majesty," the scout gasped, his face pale. "Vordrath prepares for war. Their armies gather near the northern border." The council erupted in debate. Generals called for preemptive strikes, ministers urged caution, and Alaric's closest advisor, Cedric, suggested sending envoys to seek the truth. But Alaric, his pride wounded, declared, "We will not wait for them to strike first. If Varghul wants war, we will give him war." Preparations began immediately. The kingdom buzzed with activity. Villagers were conscripted, weapons forged, and supplies gathered. Alaric himself led the training of his knights, his commanding presence filling them with confidence. But as the kingdom prepared for war, one voice remained hesitant: Princess Elara, Alaric's only child. Elara was young, but her wisdom often surpassed her years. One evening, she found her father in the war room, poring over maps. "Father," she said softly, "must there always be war to prove strength? What if this conflict is a misunderstanding?" Alaric looked up, his expression softening for a moment. "Peace is a noble dream, Elara. But dreams don't protect kingdoms. Strength does." "Is strength only found in war?" she asked. But Alaric, brushing off her words, returned to his maps. The armies of Eldoria met Vordrath's forces at the valley of Varghul, a cold and desolate expanse surrounded by jagged cliffs. As the two sides clashed, the battlefield erupted into chaos. Shouts, clanging steel, and cries of the wounded filled the air. Alaric fought valiantly, cutting through enemy ranks like a lion among sheep. But amidst the chaos, Alaric noticed something strange. The soldiers of Vordrath fought not with the aggression of conquerors, but with the desperation of men defending their homes. When an enemy commander was captured, Alaric interrogated him. "Why does your king invade my lands?" Alaric demanded. The commander, his face weary and bloodied, replied, "Your Majesty, it was said that you planned to invade us. King Varghul rallied us to defend our people." Alaric's grip tightened on his sword. Could it be true? Had this war been fueled by lies and misunderstandings? That night, as the stars blinked above the blood-stained valley, Alaric called for Cedric. "What if this war is built on nothing but pride and fear?" he confessed. "What if Varghul and I have both been blinded by our own doubts?" Cedric nodded gravely. "Your Majesty, wars often begin with misunderstandings, but they are prolonged by pride. The question is, will you risk appearing weak to seek peace?" The next morning, instead of ordering an attack, Alaric sent a messenger under a white flag to King Varghul. He proposed a meeting, face to face, in the heart of the valley. Varghul, suspicious but curious, agreed. Alaric and Varghul met in the no-man's land, surrounded by their generals and soldiers. Varghul was a tall, scarred man with a steely gaze. He eyed Alaric warily. "What trick is this, Alaric?" Varghul growled. "No trick," Alaric replied. "Only a chance to speak. Tell me, Varghul, why do you fight?" Varghul hesitated, then said, "My spies told me you were amassing armies to invade Vordrath. I could not wait for you to strike first." Alaric sighed. "And my scouts told me the same about you. Yet here we stand, with our people bleeding for nothing but whispers and shadows." The two kings talked for hours, sharing their fears and regrets. They realized how their pride and mistrust had brought them to the brink of destruction. Finally, they made a pact, a truce to end the fighting, and a promise to work together to prevent future conflict. In the months that followed, Eldoria and Vordrath became allies, their bond growing stronger through trade and mutual trust. The Valley of Varghul, once a battlefield, became a place where farmers and merchants gathered in harmony. King Alaric, now older and wiser, often reflected on the lesson he had learned. One evening, as he told the tale to his granddaughter, he said, "The greatest battles are not fought with swords, but within ourselves. Pride and fear are the true enemies. It takes more courage to lay down your sword than to raise it." And so, the tale of King Alaric and the Battle of Shadows became a legend, passed down through generations. It reminded all who heard it that strength is not found in war, but in the wisdom to choose peace. In our own lives, we often fight battles fueled by misunderstandings or pride. Ask yourself, are you holding on to grudges or conflicts that could be resolved with a conversation? True strength lies not in domination, but in understanding. Choose peace, for it is the path to lasting harmony.